My family abandoned me when I lost my job. Then they came begging at my door. The day I lost my job, I thought the hardest part would be telling my wife and children. I was wrong. The hardest part was discovering how quickly my own family could change the way they looked at me. For 17 years, I had worked for the same company, and I had always been the person everyone called when they needed help. My parents needed money for repairs, I helped. My younger brother needed money to start a business, I helped. My sister needed school fees for her children, I helped. I never complained because I believed that was what family was supposed to do. Then one Friday morning, I was called into my manager's office and told that the company was restructuring. My position was being eliminated. I walked home carrying a small box of belongings, trying to convince myself that losing a job didn't mean losing my future. But within a month, my savings were disappearing quickly. I called my brother Marcus and asked if he could lend me enough money to cover the mortgage until I found another job. He laughed. You were always the one telling everyone else to be responsible. Now you're asking me for money? I couldn't believe it. I called my sister. She said she had her own problems. Then I called my parents. My father told me that adults should handle their own difficulties. That evening, I sat alone at my kitchen table and realized something painful. I had spent years being everyone's safety net, but nobody had ever prepared to catch me. I stopped asking for help. I sold my car, cut my expenses, and took temporary work wherever I could find it. For nearly a year, I worked 3 different jobs while applying for positions in my field. During that time, I discovered something unexpected. I had always been good at managing businesses, but I had never considered working for myself. So I started a small consulting service from my apartment. At first, I had only one client. Then I got another. Within 6 months, I was earning more than I had at my old job. I moved into a better apartment and slowly rebuilt my savings. I didn't tell my family. I wasn't angry anymore, but I had stopped needing their approval. Then, almost 2 years after I lost my job, my mother called me. Her voice sounded nervous. She asked if she could come over. When she arrived, she was holding a folder. She sat across from me and finally admitted the truth. My father had invested heavily in Marcus's business after I lost my job. Marcus had promised him that the business would become successful. Instead, he had lost almost everything. Then my sister had gotten into serious debt after taking loans she couldn't repay. My parents had used most of their savings trying to rescue both children. Now they were facing the possibility of losing their home. My mother looked at me and said, "We need your help." I sat there quietly. Part of me wanted to remind her how she had told me to handle my own problems. But another part remembered the family I had once believed in. I asked one question. What exactly do you need? She explained that they needed someone to restructure their finances and negotiate with the bank. I could do that. But I told her I wouldn't simply give them money. If I helped, there would be conditions. Everyone would have to be honest about their finances. Marcus would have to sell the expensive equipment he had purchased with borrowed money. My sister would have to create a repayment plan. My parents would have to stop giving money to whichever child asked first. My mother agreed. My father wasn't happy, but eventually he accepted. Over the next year, I helped them rebuild their finances. Marcus closed his failing business and found employment. My sister repaid her debts gradually. My parents kept their home. But there was one final twist. During the process, my father discovered that Marcus had secretly taken money from their retirement account without telling them. The amount wasn't enormous, but it was enough to destroy the trust they had rebuilt. My father confronted him, and Marcus finally admitted that he had been afraid to tell everyone his business was failing. He had kept borrowing because he was terrified of being called a failure. I understood that fear because I had felt it myself when I lost my job. But I also knew something Marcus hadn't learned yet. Failure isn't the worst thing that can happen to you. Refusing to face reality is. Years later, my consulting business became successful enough that I hired several employees. My family relationship also changed. We didn't become perfect, but we became more honest. Nobody expected me to rescue everyone anymore, and I stopped trying to prove that I could. Looking back, losing my job was one of the most painful experiences of my life, but it also showed me who I really was. I learned that being useful to people isn't the same as being loved by them. And I learned that sometimes losing your position is what forces you to discover your purpose. Never measure your worth by how much money you can provide for other people. The people who truly value you will still respect you when your pockets are empty. And